Russian President Vladimir Putin is blaming NATO and the U.S. for escalating tensions in eastern Ukraine. During a press conference today, Putin accused the West of trying to make Ukraine, quote, anti-Russia. He also defended Moscow's military buildup along its border with Ukraine, which has many world leaders on edge. Russia is planning to hold security talks with the U.S. next month, as Washington intelligence says an invasion into Ukraine is possible after the new year. Putin has a list of demands ahead of this meeting, including keeping Ukraine and other Soviet countries out of NATO. To talk more about this, global affairs analyst Michael Bociurkiw joins us now. He's also the author of the book Digital Pandemic, COVID-19, How Tech Went from Bad to Good. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Ukrainian officials said they're hopeful they'll see peace through the holidays after restoring a 2020 ceasefire deal with Russia. But based on the rhetoric during today's press conference and statements made by Putin earlier this week, how realistic is it that this ceasefire will hold?
Well, good to be with you, Elise. Look, we've had many of these ceasefire agreements previously. I've sat at the table where they've been negotiated, and they typically come around this time of year, around Christmas, when everyone supposedly wants peace. But the reality of it, sad to report, is that some of them hardly last a few hours. What you have to remember is both sides in some areas of the front line are only a few hundred meters apart. So the chances of some kind of live fire happening is very, very high. And, you know, the main thing that is missing here to make a ceasefire happening is political will. I don't see much of that. And finally, my former colleagues at the OSCE are being blocked daily by the Russian-backed rebels. In fact, today, when the ceasefire is supposed to take hold, they were blocked twice. So how can you have a ceasefire when those charged with monitoring it are being blocked on a continuous basis?
I see. Were we able to glean anything else from Putin's address?
Well, a lot of, I think Jane Psaki used the term bellicose rhetoric. That's exactly it. I think Mr. Putin is laying the cards down for that invasion, probably January, when the earth is very frozen. It's easier for tanks and heavy weaponry to roll in. But, you know, what really worries me is actually what he said a few days ago is he basically accused the Ukrainians of genocide. When you couple that with what's been happening in the past couple of years or so, Putin handing out 500,000 or so Russian passports to residents of the occupied Donbass, to me, he's setting up the pretext for moving in. And, you know, his defense secretary accusing the U.S. of moving in chemical weapon attacks to attack people in forces in eastern Ukraine, really a lot of rhetoric that doesn't help the ceasefire whatsoever.
So if an invasion were to take place, how prepared are the Ukrainian people and their allies?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, when I arrived there in 2014 as part of the OSCE, we saw, you know, Russian troops in flip-flops and borrowed uniforms. They're much better trained, much better prepared, better weaponry. Although it has to be said that, you know, they're still waiting for that $200 million military aid package from the Biden administration. You can't deliver that type of aid when an invasion actually happens. These things have to be integrated into the armed forces. You know, they have to receive proper training and so on. The other thing I'll say is that what we're seeing is there's, if Russia were to invade, I think you'll see a lot of Ukrainians picking up arms. You'll see a lot more guerrilla tactics. And also we're seeing a lot more nationalism, patriotism on the Ukrainian side of the front line, which bodes well for Ukraine defending itself from this type of invasion.
A lot of things that we'll have to keep watch of. The West has threatened consequences, including sanctions, but that doesn't seem to be deterring President Putin. How is Russia protecting itself against sanctions, and how is their relationship with China helping them?
Yeah, you know, Elise, it boggles the mind what Russia has done to kind of inoculate itself from sanctions. One of the main things is any company in Russia that is sanctioned, then they're given out big contracts by the Russian defense forces or intelligence forces. And then, yeah, you mentioned China. Excuse me. Russia and China are in a tightening diplomatic embrace, if we can call it that. And now they're actually talking about a closed-loop economic trading system, which would lessen their dependence entirely on the U.S. dollar. So if the West used that most powerful tool, the removing Russia from the international payment system, the so-called SWIFT system, if Russia and China continue on this path, then it won't affect them that much. Again, it boggles the mind, but that's how prepared they are and the kind of long game they're playing.
Well, thank you so much for breaking all of this down for us, Michael Bociurkiw.
Pleasure.